Welcome. It is no accident that you have found your way to the Release the Genie podcast. What would you do with 3 wishes? And what if you discovered that you are in fact that very genie that could grant them? Well, join us now as we discover who our next genie is as we listen in and learn the stories of triumph, inspiration, and passion with some very special guests. And now, without further delay, your host of the Release the Genie podcast, Mr. Paul Rogers.
That's so much better. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're tuning in from. I am your host, Paul Rogers, and welcome to another episode of Release the Genie. So my guest, wow, I did allude to this earlier in the week, a special guest and something which I think is new, fresh, and never been seen on a podcast. So very exciting. What can I say? An inspiration, someone who when I grow up, I'd like to be. So I'm going to let the guest introduce himself because what can I say? Hi. Oh, yes. Surprise. Thank you very much for that intro. I really wish you kept going because it was just starting to get good. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. There's something quite familiar about you, and I can't really put my finger on it. Actually, I know. Common face? No, now I get it. I love the background. I'd seen that a few times. Yeah, and you usually wear sort of Joseph's dream coat. Have you had to give it back? Yeah, no, it's I had to give it back. He was missing some of his superpowers. But before we start this, let me just give you some respect here. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. So we've got some questions which we're going to go through. We may jump off script, but I know you haven't really prepared for this and the questions are going to be new to you. It's okay. I think I got this, but thank you for the heads up. Okay, let's get started. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do. For sure, thank you. I will certainly give you the abbreviated version because we'll touch on what the rest is during the interview. To just make it very quick, lived 4 different careers, 3 different countries, 2 personal tragedies, and 1 true purpose. Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, and if I had to sort of say what I am, I would say that I am a transformation expert, awareness giver, part-time comedian, and I found my true purpose and passion. I love that, awareness giver and part-time comedian. Yeah, I can see you certainly belong on the stage. If not, you've got the great face for radio. Yeah, thanks for the first part, not so much on the second part. So I wonder if you could tell us your Release the Genie moment. Like most people, I've had more than just one Release the Genie moment, but I'm just going to sort of touch on a couple of points. Okay, the first one actually happened when I was 18. I was diagnosed eventually with autoimmune illness, Addison's, which means I don't actually make any adrenaline. We had to battle, my mum and dad had to battle against the medical profession to get that diagnosis. So that was really my first big Release the Genie moment, which was that battle. The second one was I unfortunately in 2014 was diagnosed with skin cancer, and it was a melanoma. It was, of course, the most aggressive one, so had to have 3 operations to remove that. It decided it needed to stretch its legs and wandered off into my lymph nodes. So had to take those away. And it's very similar to what ladies have for breast cancer. So I understand a lot about cancer. I also understand a lot of fear which is involved, but I'll touch on that a bit later. And then finally, my awakening moment, which came from a devastating accident. Wow. Now that kind of seems like 3 or 4 lifetimes in one. That's amazing. And you're still here. Yep. Obviously, a moving target is harder to get. So yeah, I seem to have walked through fire on more than one occasion, and I'm pretty hard to kill, I think. Also, I have a cat, and it's kind of scared right now because I've used up at least 3 or 4 lives. So I may not have that cat for much longer because they might want to run away. I love that. Yeah, I've got a cat too, and it's always looking for the door. So I wonder if you could share a release the genie moment, because wow, what a trip. Yeah, sure. I mean, it really is something which has come from my recent sort of understanding and awareness, and it's from one of my favorites, which is Dr. Wayne Dyer. I would have loved to have met him. He's the wow. And his quote is that we are spirits having a human experience rather than humans having a spiritual experience. Whoa, now that's deep. I love it. I love it. And yeah, I think when you actually see that picture and that awareness, it really is. Once the genie is out of the bottle, it's pretty hard to put that one back in. No, I think you're right. If you know it, you know it. So I'll leave it there. And I know I've got lots of friends who also know exactly what that sort of that quotation means, and that should appeal to them. Okay, well, look, I'm pleased you're still here, and now you've seen our mystery guest. You can bet you're going to be in for a ride. Also, kudos for you guys, all the nice share people and praying hands. They've now gone, so everything after this is just for us. Okay, so sit back and enjoy the ride. Okay, it's roll your sleeves up time. I'm going to actually dive in and ask you about your story of struggle, pain, and challenges you face on a daily basis. So, this is the time for you to really stretch your legs. Thank you. And yeah, this is the part where actually I'm going to be a lot more truthful than I usually am. Um, what most people see is this sort of larger than life character who always seems to be on top form. But what they don't see is the hardship that lies behind it. And I think that I spend so much energy on trying to be well. And it's not because it's anything fake. It's just that when I when I feel like that, it kind of makes me feel like I am human again. And if you're a high functioning person, um, if you don't reach that again, it's very hard to accept this is it. Um, and you know, I what people don't see is that actually I have a cold pad. What people don't see that the impact was actually here around the back of the neck, and that's been painful every day. Um, the I mean, the accident is devastating, and even now, it's very hard to accept that that's happened, and it's coming up to a really important week for me. Today is the 19th, and this is the day the accident happened 3 years ago, and this is the time when my previous life stopped, and where new beginning opportunity started, I was to wake up 10 days later in ICU, in a hospital. The first thing I remember seeing was my hands, and I couldn't recognize them because they were badly cut. I didn't have any of my jewelry on or anything like that, no rings, so I didn't recognize that, and I didn't even know where I was, what I was. And I thought I had lost my family, my wife, my son. And so that was a very, very hard thing to wake up to. The injuries, yeah, I mean, you're talking blinding pain. I can't even put into words what that is. And this is going to sound weird. When people say, oh, you know, is there a big bright light to, yeah, people have called them NDEs, which is near death experiences. And people expect to see this big bright light and everything. And I have seen a big bright light, but I try to hide from it because I thought that the darkness was a reality, and I therefore kept and hidden that. And I thought that the light was just a dream, and every time it came, it was exceptionally painful. So I didn't want to go there, but I realized that actually at that point I was making the choice whether to give up or to come back, and I was guided back to the light, and basically given this message that my work here hasn't finished. In fact, it just begun. So a very hard, lots of emotions coming all at once, but actually what is form, what is body? So a very, very confusing and life-changing. I mean, I know what life-changing means now. Wow. Now, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I know that it is exceptionally painful for you, and I appreciate it. And also, I just want to give a shout out to, you know, I know how hard you try to work, that you always try to put 100% in, but it comes at a cost, doesn't it? Yeah, no, it always comes at a cost, and the cost, I actually will pay that. And I had an appointment recently where I said to the guy, I said, look, you don't realize that this is going to come at a massive cost to me. What I mean that is colossal pain. And that's just the pain side. The mental game is a whole different level. And having CPTSD, now C is just complex PTSD. It means it's not just one event. And my wonderful psychologist, I have him on speed dial. No, one of my wonderful psychologists, Gabrielle, we understand and work together as co-creators almost now, because the issues are at a subconscious rather than a conscious level, so quite a lot harder to actually get into. Wow, no, that's amazing. Now, I wonder if it's okay if I sort of share one of my standout low moments with you. Yeah, go for it, as long as it's going to be okay for you. Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few, but there's one that really stands out to me, and it was when I got admitted back to hospital on one of the occasions where I went in the ambulance. So I've ridden in one of those, and I heard the sirens. I couldn't see the lights, but it's one of those occasions. And I'd been admitted, and they were running various tests, which we won't go into that. But what had happened is then there was obviously a pressure for beds. So I was wheeled out into the hallway. I was then spend the next 12 hours in the hallway. I didn't have my iPad or anything because obviously having that, I was worried that people walking past may take it. So I was on my own. I was feeling very poorly indeed. There were people walking past me, looking at me. And then you won't believe this, they put me right outside the pediatrician wing. So then all the babies started crying. I was like, oh no. And I remember asking the nurse if I could have some earbuds just to stop that. And I really did think this is kind of one of the worst things ever. So for me, that was a real low moment. Eventually, the doctor did come and he said, well, do I take any drugs? And I remember getting very indignant and said, what, just because I've got dreadlocks doesn't mean I take drugs. And he said, no, I just meant, what do you take? And I kind of laughed at myself thinking, yeah, that was my jumping to a conclusion. He said, well, it's just very rare for a guy your age to be here in this sort of state. So yeah, don't try and jump to conclusions. One of the things which I regret, and one thing which I've got used to, but it doesn't get any easier, are the following. My face, as you can see, is partially paralyzed, and up until the surgery, it was very uneven, and yeah, it looked like I had a full stroke. Obviously, I'm beautiful now, but back then I was in a very bad way. But the thing I have got over is embracing how I now look. Most people only know me from then, but from some now, so they don't know the before. And I lost my smile. Okay, I know you're going to say, hey, you've got a smile. You can smile on the left-hand side. But for me, that was one of my big communication tools. And I've learned to smile. I've learned to smile with my eyes. But for me, I know what I lost, and I know that isn't going to return. I also can't taste on 50%, so half of my tongue and mouth doesn't taste. So that's a big sensation. Just think next time you eat something about not being able to taste it. And they're things which only I unfortunately know. But they are also that's the reality. So, I want to be as truthful and honest as I can. And one of the treatments which I have every 3 months I have 60 Botox injections in my face and neck, so hence why I look so beautiful and young. But they're not licked on by kittens, and they're not the cosmetic surgery ones, because I think, how do women do this? It's not that. It's find a nerve and then stab it effectively. And that's 3 months, every 3 months. It does give me quite a lot of relief in the face and neck from pain. But again, things come at a cost, and yeah, I'm not always excited to have that done. I also now find it very hard looking back to remember anything in the first year. I certainly can't remember anything about the accident and maybe about 3 or 4 weeks before. What I can remember is the pain, because there were some standout moments on that. So that's kind of what that, and chronic pain. And anyone who has this will know how much of a burden and weight that is, because it's in you. There is nothing you can do. The other the other day, I was having these horrible stab pains in the head, and one hit me so hard that I got up and ran down the hallway, and I found myself at the end of the hallway thinking, well, where are you going? You can't run away from yourself, but it was almost like a primal instinct to run for cover. So, that hopefully is, that's going to appeal to someone, but it's 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 very tough. It's very, very tough, and that's me being beautifully English and understating it, because it's kind of like Monty Python. Nasty wound you got there, soldier. It's just a flesh wound, sir. So yeah, humor has got me a long way. The first time I went to see one of the surgeons, and I'd been really poorly and being sick all morning, and my doctor said, you cannot miss this appointment. So there I was in a wheelchair, sort of looking like death, and I got wheeled in, and basically he's a Brit, so that was kind of nice. So we were talking about what needs to be done, and we didn't have a long window. We had to operate because the bone from the side impact had splintered all into the brain, and we need to get it out before it got sucked right in and was basically unreachable. So it was an urgent thing, and I said, well, it could have been worse. And he nodded, and he then told me later, he was like, how? How could this be worse? But that's the sort of thing which I think gets you through, and you don't realize, and that even now I just don't realize until I discover the extent, and I'm still on a learning curve on that. Wow, no, that's amazing. Now, I did you say that actually you were hit by a train? I mean, come on. First of all, a train's kind of hard to miss. How the heck did you not see it? And also, they also make a lot of noise. So, can you, in the nicest way, explain that for me? Yeah, no. First of all, it was winter time up there, so -30. Not a sort of day you have your windows open, so they were shut. And from what I have been told is that there was a huge pile of snow, a sort of a 20-foot embankment, and it's simply that he couldn't see us and we couldn't see him. My wife, and this, she can't remember this, but she was told this because she also was unconscious for 10 days, had to have emergency head surgery, and apparently the train driver turned up at ICU. I mean, I can only imagine how he must have felt. He was just doing his job, and he was led into ICU, and my wife and I, this took a lot of courage. She said, don't worry, it's not your fault. Now that type of advice changes somebody's whole life, and I hope he gets to see this and that we are still here, and this is hopefully going to bring some inspiration to people, because that's what I want to do. That's what I know I need to do, is raise awareness, to give a voice to what's happened, to get my healing in as best I can. Wow, no, thank you. I mean, my next question is, who is your hero? But what you're saying is, you're on a hero's journey yourself. Oh, thank you. I mean, it doesn't always feel like that. I mean, I spent most of this week in bed. I have every one of my appointments, medical appointments. I've been into hospital 3 or 4 times this week for various things. but you see, we don't know that because, you know, on social media, you're always posting things, and to be honest, you also, I've never seen anything where you go and sort of air your laundry in public. No, you're right. I mean, some people, they find their healing by sort of telling people, getting people to comment on it, gaining support by people wishing them the best, and that's just not how I work. In fact, uh, sympathy is one of the worst things you could possibly give me, and I will go through that by myself. Um, and I don't need people to know this. This is actually taking a huge deal of courage, but it's something I wanted to do on the anniversary. You just give me a quick moment there. I can see that actually that's still really very raw for you. So, you know, please don't dwell on it. The purpose of this is simply to interview somebody who I find very inspiring, and if I pry too much, then please you can tell me to stop. So, hey, we're all friends here. Thanks, man. It's you know, it's uh, it's not easy, especially for somebody who likes to do his fighting in private. There's always a great quote that, you know, no one knows the battles anyone else is fighting. And it's not just me. There is hundreds and thousands of people out there who are all dealing with stuff which is invisible, which nobody knows about. And I just like to say a big, big shout out there, all the my brothers and sisters who are going through something which is means they have to do it or want to do it in private where nobody knows. I see you, and hopefully you see me now too. That's powerful, powerful advice. Thank you so much for that. Look, let's get on to something a little bit brighter here. Now, who would you say are your heroes? I have so many heroes, but I will try to list them off, if that's okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, you give me more heroes, that just means we've got more things to look at. Okay, well, look, my heroes, first of all, my hero is my wife, who's been through terrible things, the same thing as me, and we're stronger, better than ever we were before. We had to relearn our boundaries, but you know, I can't even imagine, and that's because I've been there. What would life would be without her? My 5-year-old, who at the time the accident was 2, again, they are the big reasons to keep going. And I have been in those moments where you question that, and they don't go away. So they are some of the people who keep me here and who I want to be a better person for. My extended family who have looked after me, and even though even though they may feel that they can't help, they do, and I just want them to appreciate that they have made the big difference. Um, Special people on this wonderful LinkedIn platform, and you know, there's too many of them to actually name, but all I can say is, you know who you are, and I am internally grateful, and I will continue to honor you and our friendship. And lastly, and this is the get the tissues out moment. My beautiful husky Malamute, who his name was Siku. Now, I know people have heard this story, but I just need to tell it just this next time. On the impact, he jumped over the back seats onto my wife and son, and he saved their lives. Without him doing that act, they wouldn't be here today. And I just want to say thank you to a hero which has touched my life and continues to touch my life. And I tell this story not so people go, oh, they're there. It's the story to show that despite the worst thing happening, the destructive event happening in the darkest of places, there is a story of hero, love, compassion, beauty. And if you can find that, if you can hold on to that, if you can just get behind that, then that's the reason why I don't want to tarnish that beautiful story. Now, I know that the shout out of the heroes is not going to be complete. Knowing your parents as I do, perhaps you'd just like to talk about them and your family. Yeah. Without my parents and my sister, it would have been a very different picture. They have been my rock, and my sister-in-law, who was one of the first on the scene, who looked after my little 2-year-old Sasha, and mother-in-law, father-in-law, anyone, brother-in-law, anyone who's been connected with us, friends, have all felt the impact. And it's very rare that you get the chance to say thank you. So I'm going to take that chance now, as it's been gifted to me, to say thank you. We couldn't have done it without you, and we continue to thank you for all your effort. To mum and dad, when the lockdown's over, we can't wait to see you, and we all miss you. So thank you. Final shout out is to my amazing medical team. I see them regularly, and yeah, thank you for them to keeping me here and trying to put me back together. I'm a bit like Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, thank you for helping me on my nursery rhyme. I love that, Humpty Dumpty. I mean, you know, classic understatement, which we all know you do. Yeah, I mean, I know that you've had multiple breaks, smashed skull, broken neck, which I think you've just been told was broken in 6 different places, and investigations which are still continuing on that. So, you know, I get this, and you know, this is why I wanted to have you on here as a guest, so that you could tell the real story, because everyone has a story, but not everyone is prepared to show it. So I thank you once again for doing that. Thank you. You know, it was something I just wanted to do, and I thank you for inspiring people and giving me an opportunity to tell that. Okay, well, look, you know, let's move on to something which is going to be a little bit of fun for you. I always get to ask my genie for 3 wishes. So, are you ready there? Oh, I'm ready here. I'm ready. Let's do this. Okay. So, my first wish is: what is the best advice you have received in your life? That's a good one. And as you can imagine, I've had plenty of advice of how to do things, but I think my best advice I have ever received is that you can be whatever you want. There is no limitations apart from the ones which you are going to place on yourself. There is nothing or anyone you can't be or can't do. So if you take that on board, that gives you an immense sense of freedom. Wow. No, yeah, I mean, I get that. That's I know that that's going to resonate with a lot of my fellow genies, but that's amazing. Thank you for that. So now we're going to go on to my second wish, which is, what advice would you give your younger self? Now, this one's good. You'll like this one. Now, this is to my younger self. I'm talking to you right now. If you see some old dude come up with dreads who looks like he's homeless, and somebody you're just going to cross the road, don't do that. He's going to tell you something which actually I think you really need to hear. And it's this: don't take yourself too seriously. And I think with that, again, like the first wish, which the best advice I see, if you do not take yourself too seriously, it will get you through a lot of hard times. And yeah, it's immediate, instant relief. Wow, yeah, no, I get the thing with the old dreadlock dude. Yeah, would you have listened to that advice at the time? First of all, as I said, I would have crossed the road because I would have thought, uh-oh, so he's going to ask for something, or sell me a big issue or something like that. So no, I wouldn't have mostly listened because I was too busy empire building and thinking I just had it all sorted. So yeah, at that time, I would have not really listened to the advice. Yeah, no, it's a lot of what my guests have actually said, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. Well, you say hindsight, and this is quite an interesting thing. When does hindsight actually come? It's something which is in the past, but you only realize that in the present. So that's one for you to chew over and think about. Now, hey, that's a real. I'm gonna have to write that down. That's a real head twister. Hey, I've got to be polite. It's a family show, but no, wow, I love that, love that. Which then brings me to my third and final wish, which is, what is one personal habit that you attribute to your success? This one is this one's dear to me, and to survive. Each day is a day of stuff which I have on my overdraft from life, and on those dark days, sometimes surviving is all you can do, and it gets down to what you can do hour by hour, minute by minute. So some days it's just doing that. And again, that's something people don't see. They wouldn't think of me because I try, all my effort goes into being well. As I said, it's not a pretend. It's not. It's something where I just try to inspire myself, and then that gives it being authentic, because that for that moment, for that time, I am actually exactly who I want to be. And I hope the more I do it, the more that it will spread into my rest of what I do, and help me actually get back to who I really am. But thank you for asking. It's a valid it's a really nice question. Thank you. Okay, well, look, dude, I know this is coming straight from the heart, and I totally respect it. I know it's a struggle, And I also know this is the first time we've ever done anything like this. So don't worry, everyone is getting just a treat just for us hanging out together. And I just want to ask you one thing is, I wonder if you could please tell us a little bit of what actually living with CPTSD is like. Yeah. Every single day, every single day, there is some moment when you are scared to being paralyzed with fear. Um, it's kind of strange because I don't fear anything, but at the same time, I fear everything. Um, what I mean by that is events in life don't scare me. What I have inside scares me, and I don't even know what that is. For me, it's my triggers are loud noises, sudden movements, um, metallic sounds. I get the sensational flashbacks, and I get the emotional flashbacks of being crushed, being helpless and not able to speak. I have had a couple of visual flashbacks, and I don't know whether they're real or they're not. It doesn't matter. The effect is still the same. The subconscious doesn't let go. Even though I was unconscious, the subconscious still kept recording. And it's not just one thing. There are flashback sensations to every single thing I've had since my various operations, my brain surgery, that you name it. And it's every single day at some point. And it's one of those things where when you say, "Oh, do your breathing and get over your my fear mindset," it's like telling somebody who's drowning swim. Um, and there are tricks which I've learned to be able to deal with it, but like most trauma, anyone who has suffered any type of trauma knows that the trauma never goes away. You just get better at living and dealing with it. And that's what I do every day. I try and learn something new about it, being curious, pushing my limits, because I could very easily just do nothing. It won't change what everyone else thinks, or I can push myself. I can, for example, I wear earbuds when I go out because outside noises, shopping malls, they're my nemesis because of the noise, the lighting, and you don't realize how much you take for granted. And so it's appreciating the small things. I also realized that I am on a journey which is nowhere near complete. It's only been 3 years, which in terms of this injury is ridiculously short period of time. This goes from not being able to talk, not being able to open my mouth because it had been basically rammed shut, which kind of is a good thing as long as depending on where your view is, not being able to walk. And yeah, it's that I've been told by so many doctors when I've gone and seen them, and I kind of seen a few, that they can't believe that I am still here. I'm in a very elite class of one, plus two for my wife and my son. So of having survived a train crash. And one of the other things which people don't realize about and how PTSD can affect people is that for me, when I have one of those episodes, I lose all balance. On occasions, especially when I'm out, and if there starts to be triggered, I forget how to walk. And I literally can't remember. Some of the interviews which I've given, which I'm very good at laughing off. I've got a very good way of getting myself out of things, but sometimes I forget what I'm about to say. And it's not just, oh, silly him, he forgets. It's, I can't remember anything, like what I was talking about, why I'm there. And that is very upsetting. And writing for me and words are now an issue. On my worst moments, I stutter so badly that I can't be understood. And they're all parts which no one ever sees. And so that's me kind of laying out some of the things. And hopefully that's going to sort of help give a little bit more about the background. So I wonder, is there any advice you can give to listeners who, any takeaway thing they can sort of get hold of? Yes, I can. I think that you need something to aim for. You need something which is going to pull you and inspire you. If it, and a cause, awareness, helping other people, whatever it is, if you focus on that, that will pull you even on the hardest days. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows, I know, but you've got to find something to focus on, whether it's your family or whatever, because without that focus, you're in some serious problems. So if you can't find that focus, be brave. Just be brave. Give yourself a break. You are doing the best you can. So go easy on yourself, eh? So what are you working on at the moment? Talk us through what's going on. I mean, you're not going to believe this, despite all that's going on, which is the bad side. Again, coming back to that story, having the balance of the good. It's Brain Injury Awareness Month, March, so I am campaigning very heavily for that, to raise awareness on something which is brushed under the carpet, and a lot of people don't know it. So I'm hoping that my being here, showing up, is actually going to show, give some awareness on that. Other things, I've got this really great podcast, which you may have heard of, Release the Genie. No, that sounds very similar to what I do. Are you sure? I am a lawyer, remember? So, yeah, no, dude, it's a completely different thing. So no, don't worry. One of the other big things which I'm working on at the moment is speaking engagements, trying to raise awareness on mental health and other issues. I've got a fair amount of experience from different areas, so it's kind of cool, and I'm enjoying that. And also, my wife, I'm pretty sure she won't mind this. She is actually at the moment writing our movie of our journey. And if there's any directors out there or anything like that, then please get in touch. We've already sort of sent it to a couple of people, and the reviews they've given us already is phenomenal. And it's just the beginning. So very exciting stuff there. And hopefully, going to really sort of tell the story as it is, and the why. Wow, now that sounds, I mean, I'd be up for watching that. And yeah, I mean, I know you've already mostly got some characters there, so yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I would like Brad Pitt to play me, obviously, likeness, and he'd look quite cool, I think, with dreads, or Leonardo DiCaprio. So one of them two would be cool. Well, I love that. That's going straight to the top there. So yeah, well, good luck. And I know Brad and Leonardo are regular viewers of the show. So okay, guys, reach out to my very special guest today. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And yeah, no, please get in touch. And you know, I can't help but notice this great big logo you've got there, Core 500, Core Mentors Association. What's that about? Okay, well, look, this is some shameless sort of plugging of that. It's a not-for-profit organization, and the idea is to bring together coaches and mentors across lots of different platforms to an association. It's kind of like trying to, you know, working with your mates again back in the old days. And yeah, I mean, there are some seriously, seriously talented people in there with a huge amount of experience and, you know, all one aim, which is to try and help other people. And yeah, and I know that actually they're still looking for members. And once they get to the 500, it's, you know, they're pretty much there. That's going to be the core. So yeah, very, very exciting. And, you know, the owners are, the founders, I'd be rude not to mention is sort of Kelly and Rob Sharkey. Thank you very much. And yeah, awesome thing to be a part of. Great, great. And I love the logo, by the way. So yeah, really cool. Well done. And so where can we get hold of you? Because, you know, I know that people are going to, especially Brad and Leonardo, are going to want to get hold of you. So tell us where you hang out. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's kind of like my sandbox. There's a lot of Paul Rogerses, you know, like who knew? And we even share the same name. So you can see what are the chances of that. So I go under the tag of Paul S. Rogers. You can work out what the S is to yourself. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Of course, I am on Core Mentors, so feel free to reach out there as I'm a director. Yeah, I've got a YouTube and all the other sort of social media things. Well, that's great. I mean, finally, could you actually just recommend to listeners a book which you've gone to and which has helped you? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's more than one. Is that going to be okay? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can give us more than one, we're up for that. Okay, that's cool. Okay, there's three actually. I mean, I'm now a big reader. I've kind of swapped reading and gaining awareness for what I was actually training to be. Believe it or not, I was just about to take my whitewater rafting exams and be an instructor, and also my Swift River Rescue, which was jumping into rapids and rescuing people. I was going to go on and teach that, but fate intervened, and yeah, so now I've kind of swapped that physical stuff for this stuff. So getting back to the books, the three books I would recommend is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Amazing book. You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor, and U Squared by Price Pritchett. Great books. If you haven't read them, just, you know, you're going to lose yourself in there. Some magic things. And I'm just going to have to ask you this because I know this is quite amusing and maybe not everyone knows this. Tell us a bit about what you think about the universe. Well, I kind of think the universe has got a sense of humor. Oh yeah, why do you say that? Listen to this. Okay, I live in Canada, Quebec, and the street which runs at the bottom of my street is called Railway Street. Oh, come on now, really? That's not the best part. The road I live on is called Passenger Street. I mean, if that's not the universe having fun with you, I don't know what is. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's kind of cool, huh? Well, yeah, I really would have not liked the last part, which is the linking episode of actually being run over by a train. But and I also say to the universe, please, I'm really good at seeing the signs. Can you just leave a letter by the side of the bed? I will read it. I will notice it. Try not to sort of do what you've done already. I think I've had enough of that, if that's okay. No, I get that. And yeah, a letter I think would be a lot better. Look, I'm just going to go very quickly sum up here. Wow. I mean, a mystery guest, which I've really, really enjoyed spending time with you. And, you've told, I think, a story which a lot of people don't know. And you have been willing to share a little bit more about what goes on underneath. And I thank you for that. I know it's a difficult day and time, and I also know the reasons you're doing it. You said at the beginning, raising awareness, an awareness giver, and you're obviously putting the cause and the awareness above you and what's actually going on. You're right, and I think we all have a cause. We all have something we believe in, and you've got to stick with that cause, and you've got to follow it. And that's why we're all here. It's a cause. If it's helping somebody, it's something to actually keep you going. Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. But look, let's bring it to a close. I know we could talk for hours, and we've got a bit of a bromance going on here. So thank you very much for coming on today. Thank you, and thanks for having me. And just want to say, really love the show, and I hope people are going to subscribe. A lot of fun, and I really admire the work you're doing. Oh, thanks, man. It's always nice to hear some positive feedback, so I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Stay tuned, and as I said, this has mostly never been done before. And yeah, comment, like, share, and more importantly, subscribe. Release your genie today, and we'll see you on the next one. I don't suppose I could get a copy of this interview for me. Yeah, sure. I can send you a copy. That's no problem at all. So it's goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from him.
Well, that's a wrap. You have been listening to yet another episode of the Release the Genie podcast with host Paul Rogers. Be sure to follow Paul on the LinkedIn platform and learn more of Paul's resources at www.takeactionacademy.ca. And until next time, as always, be mindful and be sure to release your genie. Thanks for listening.